Welcome to Natural Habitat Adventures Daily Dose of Nature. I'm your host, Sunny Vanderstar. Today's topic is Insider's Guide to the Best Wildlife Parks in India and Nepal. And it will be presented by our fan favorite and fabulous NatHab expedition leader, Arpita Dutta. Arpita, thank you for being here today and for again bringing us a really fascinating topic. I'm going to turn it right over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sunny. And thank you everyone for tuning in today. And it's always a pleasure, as I always say, that because of all of you, I bring up so many things and it never make me feel lazy or just exhausted because it's so much exciting. And with that excitement, today's topic is more about the forest we visit and how we get to see the animal, about the encounters, and I'll share stories. There would be a lot of things you will get to know, but with that, I'll share the real stories that how everything happens in the forest. And I hope you would enjoy today's webinar. So when we have to start, yeah, that's a beautiful picture of the tiger. No matter what, when we talk about India, this majestic animal now and all over, it keeps on coming back. And in the forest, especially where there are so many animals, and this tiger stands out, of course, because it's a big cat. And at the same time, it has so much thing to do with the forest. Like, I think the forest is sustaining in India. It's a part. I mean, tiger and the other animal, more than the other animal, the herbivores, the tiger plays an important role to it. But before that, we have to understand a little about the park, that how the park runs. In India, so that you get a better idea that whenever you are visiting, whenever you are getting into the park, how things work out there. Oops, it's not changing. Yeah, okay. So here is so I'll be like taking the stories from the two trips we do. One is the Grand India Wildlife Adventure, and another is the Wild and Ancient Himalayas, which is in Nepal and Bhutan trip, what we do. So in the Grand India, we visit from Delhi, we start, and then we come to your Jabalpur, and then we go to Bandhavgarh National Park, which is out here. And from Bandhavgarh National Park, we go to Kanha National Park. And then we come back to Raipur, another city. From there, we fly to Kolkata. This is my hometown. We stay here for a night, and then we travel to the northeastern side of India, which is the state of Assam, which you see here. And we have many national parks, as we have in central India. There are many national parks out there. In Assam also, there are many national parks. One of it is the Kaziranga National Park, where we visit, is like mostly famous for the greater one-horn rhino. And then it goes, and then in Nepal, we go to this area, which is Chitwan National Park, and we go to Kathmandu from Delhi, and from there we fly, which is just a 20 minutes flight from Kathmandu to Bharatpur, and from there Bharatpur is a tiny airport. I mean, the luggage till date, the luggages actually come in a trolley from the aircraft, and that's really a fun thing to experience. So from Kathmandu, we fly to Bharatpur, and from there, another 35 minutes of drive, we reach to one of the fantastic national park, is the Chitwan National Park. And why fantastic, I'm telling you. You know, the meaning of this one is Chitwan. So it's from a Hindi word. Chit means the heart, and Van is the forest. So it's just like the heart of the forest, and it truly deserves the name. And yes, so I have spent quite a number of years out there. Sorry. So yeah, with this national park, we would come to that how does this national parks in India and in Nepal works. So, and national parks, I would say they are open areas. They are not like the reserve the reserve parks which we have in Africa. These are like open. There are no boundaries. So here how it goes. It has every park has a core area, and in that core area, 20%. I mean 20% of that core area is allowed for tourism, and some parks are so big that 20% is like big enough. You can't even cover in 1 or 2 drives. You have to have more drives to at least reach out to the points. I mean the more higher number, very high number of animal like movement is there. So after the core, there is another area which is called buffer. So from the core and the buffer, imagine these are all done by the department, like from the for the officials, for the people, because for animals they really don't understand what is core and buffer, so they move around everywhere. It is not necessary that only in the core we will get to see the animals. Even sometimes happens that in buffer area the sightings are like more happening than in the core. And in that tourism area, wherever it is in buffer or in core, in the tourism area, we have the chance, or we are privileged enough to see more animals, because the core area, suppose the 80% core area, which is not allowed for tourism, the animals are more shy. They are not used to see the vehicles, so many people. So they, no matter whenever they could hear the sound, they would run away from there. So it's very difficult to see animals. So it's sometimes I get questions that if we can go to more into the core, will I be able to see more animals? Actually, it doesn't happen much. So the tourism area is the more like perspective areas where the sighting happens a lot. And after this core area, we have this transition area. So in this transition area, we have these settlements. Like it could be on the periphery, what you see this circle. This is the buffer. In the buffer also, there in the periphery of the buffer, we can have our lodges, or near the core area sometimes if it is close by, then we can have the lodge. But this is the human settlement areas. So mostly human settlement means who are the community people who are living around the forest. It's not the city kind of, it's mostly the rural areas where the local community is sustaining out there. And that's the reason why you would see that all the eco lodges and all the mostly who are doing conservation tourism, most 80, 70 to 80% people from the community they hire, so that they can give them the sustainability for their livelihood. And with that, I have given an example here. So imagine this is the map of Kanha National Park, which is like my first crush. And this we have, then this national park area is divided into different zones depending on the size of the forest. we have different zones here. So we have Kisli, Kanha, Mukki. Most of the time with our NATHAB group, we stay near the Mukki, which is I prefer this zone. I mean, for last 12-15 years, whenever I go, I prefer to be here, because the gate is close by and I like the area. It is not, because Kanha is the first gate, like when the Kanha was established, then this is the first gate. So there is like I mean, too many hotels and lodges. So they have just came up like mushrooms. So just to cut out the crowd, I think NHA and we always prefer this zone because this is still secluded from that crowd. So yeah, so we can actually go to different zones in different day depending on where we get the permission, because it's all depend on the forest department. It has nothing to do what we can select most of the time, but we try to be near the Mukhi area. And so it's all depend on that what forest department controls this whole like official part of it. So they decide where and which zone we can go, so according to that we get our permission or the ticket. So here is the Mukhi. So you see the dark area is the core forest, and then we have this buffer. See, there is one lodge. There are many other lodges, of course, but there is one lodge which is very close to the core area, but it is there in the buffer. And when you are in the buffer, of course, there are many rules and regulations the lodge has to follow, and they follow it very nicely. Kanha is one of the most with the rules and regulations. I mean, it is the forest to have all rules and people maintain the rules, and it has a very strict thing so that no harm towards the animal or man-animal conflict, or people get a proper view of the animals. That's a big thing. So with that, because I mentioned that these national park areas are not they don't have a boundary, that it's a huge open cage kind of. It is not like that. They are open. So because of that, the animals have natural corridors for wildlife to migrate, because which is very important to keep the gene pool healthy. That is required. So the animals, every animals, they move out for shelter, food, and in search of the mate. So they need the natural corridors. And in the southern part of that area where we saw, just I'll go back a little bit. Yeah, here you see the southern part, this Pench, Kanha, Bandhav. This area is well connected. Because so that the animals can have this natural corridors. They are very, very important. So with this natural corridors, because as they need to move, and somewhere we are also facing some difficulties, because there are a lot of highways, because in the forest from one city to another there are some highways have been built, and because of that we get a lot of like news, road kills are there, or they're using the tarmac road to cross over to move to somewhere else. Or sometimes we even have seen the tiger have like migrated almost 400 kilometers just like that through the village areas, but thankfully the people didn't get to know, and it just moved out. And after that's one of the important corridor which has been made is like people have thought about it, and they did an overbridge, and the animals are taking the road which is below, which is down below, which is really a great news for all of us, because we were dead against this highway. But thankfully the government has thought about it, and they have come across with this idea, and it's working. So yeah, so natural corridors are very important. So imagine if you enter into a forest, you might get to see one animal, for an example, let's say tiger, because they do migrate a lot, and every animal have their territory as well. So it doesn't matter that one day in the morning if you see the tiger, it will mark its territory, and maybe by evening it will come back, or next day morning you might get to see it near that area where you have spotted. So that's how all the calculation keeps on going. But if it is a bigger part, and of course it's a cat, they love to sleep. I mean, they can sleep almost for 17 to 18 hours sometimes. So it's all about the chances in the forest. And when we talk about the chances, It's the safaris. All the wildlife safaris are with so much of excitement because you really don't know what is going to happen. You know, just by listening to the forest, understanding the language, that what nature is telling you, what she is trying to make you understand, that what is happening in the forest, that's the best part of it. You know, the whole build of stories that, okay, this is what is happening. I can hear a call, and then you just suddenly see the animal, you're anticipating, okay, this is how it's going. I think that's the best part of it. And when you are there in the vehicle with the naturalists and the guides, and when you really start feeling those vibes in you, you trust me, you are then a part of the tracking team. I mean, it is not like you can't see quite, because the vibes and the things are so forceful, that it just, you just fall into that, thing. Okay, so taking the call and stuff, I'll come with a story. Uh, and it's, I think I'll never forget that. Though there are lot more that it's you cannot just forget, but this one is just outstanding. Okay, so Kanha National Park. I mean, the morning looks amazing, especially in the winter time, early morning, and it's a sal forest patch. So it's a tall tree, and when the sun like started rising, you know, those dappling lights in between the trees, it's magical. Always, Kanha mornings are magical. And with that, we went out in the morning. It's a beautiful. You can see the river, and it's called the Banjar River. There are some sambar here, like just maybe they just stopped because we were passing from there, and then it is like we were waiting at one point, you know, to just understand that what is happening around. And with that, it has, you can see the mist is rising out here. There's a water body, and how beautiful it looks. And the visibility is very low out there. So with this, while we are going, you can see suddenly we heard like a call from far away. So we rushed over there, and let me tell you, rush means we cannot speed up the vehicle. It's just 30 km per hour. That is the highest speed. So mostly we try to keep it in 20 to 25 kilometer per hour. But when you have heard the call, and here, when you have heard the call, we just rushed there, and it was one call that is of a spotted deer. And then we didn't find anything. But just 500 to 600 meters back, we suddenly heard the hard ground Barasinga. You see the deer over here. Look at them. They are looking so cautious. I mean, the ears are like completely up, and all of them are looking on the sides, and it's all misty because it's very difficult to spot. And they are like, they have amazing power of smell. So that is the one reliable source they can have to understand in this kind of a situation. And this is the hard brown Barasinga, how it looks like, and you get to see this animal only in Kanha, nowhere else in the world. Recently, they have been relocated into another forest, but we still, till now, we cannot go there. That is not accessible for the tourist. So this is how the deer look like, and they were like, suddenly they were giving alarm calls. Alarm calls means when the animals are in distress, they call in a very different note. And they were calling, and you can see here how the deer was looking. I have taken this through the binocular because I was not carrying my camera. And here, then we suddenly saw that in that water, in that grassland, some shades are moving. which we could see the back. I don't know, the color is, I mean, it's very difficult to spot, but in this mist, you can see this is the tail of the tiger, and here she is, just moving. You can see even she stopped at one point and looking at the deer. She was crouching. I mean, so stealthy movement because she was on to make a kill. While we were watching this, at the same time, we suddenly looked behind. You can see only a little back is visible out here. It was a cub. So she was actually with her cub out there, and she was about to hunt. And this whole forest was like, I mean, from everywhere there was this hard ground barasingas. I couldn't upload the video here because it didn't work. I don't know. If anybody is interested to see the video that how the call were happening and how the tigress was approaching, just let me know in the chat and I will email the video to you. So that's how it has happened. And the little one was, curious more than that what the mother is doing. It was more curious that what is happening. So exactly, and when some hard ground balasingas, I mean, when the balasingas give a loud call, this little fellow, it got suddenly get confused and it started splashing the water. You can see the splash water, and the tail got dipped in the water and it came out. So it just a swirl came out and it just like hopping, not even walking. It was hopping and it was going back. And of course, the deer got to know because of the movement where it was. They scattered, and the tigress have a bad time. I mean, I think she took the cub pretty early than how it is required. So she missed it, but she turned around and she moved out. And the tiger I'm talking about is this. This is the Choti Mada. They call her. It's her name. And she's one of the beautiful tiger I have seen in Kanha National Park. Look at the face; it's so pretty. I mean, so it seems so calm and quiet, but of course she rules like an area. And here is the cub. You can see, but this was little when it has grown up a bit. That time it was really small, maybe four months old. Here it is a little bigger. So here is the mother and here is the cub. Somehow he managed to stick with the mom for the rest, but I think that one was amazing, especially that call, the movement of the cub and the mother. I mean, she must be thinking, oh gosh, no, why did I bring you? I mean, I was just trying to interpret that how it was happening, but it was a movie which was happening in front of our eyes. And so, of course, the mother, like it's good that the cub till this age has got stick with the mother because there are so many other predators in this forest. When the cubs are small, they are even vulnerable to this wild dog. This is the Indian wild dog. We call it dhol. Um, and they are also endangered, critically endangered species because we are losing the packs. And we have few more is in the forest, sorry, which is this is the jackal, and you will see them always, always in a tippy-toe movement, trying to. I think it's a very opportunistic thief because no matter who has done the kill, if they can find it, somehow they will manage to take a chunk and move away from there. So yeah, and this is one of the beautiful raptor out there, which is called the crested, changeable hawk eagles one, and crested hawk eagle. Remember the name changeable hawk eagle. I'll come down to that because in the central India's part, it's called the crested hawk eagle. But in Kaziranga National Park, we have this subspecies called the changeable hawk eagle. And we have also a huge, like the largest cattle in the Bovidian family is the Gore, which I always say that it has, I think, the gene people have started looking at the muscle and started big gating all 6 packs, 8 packs, because when a male, a full-grown male Gore walks, it can just it can make you like surprised that every muscle you can see, it's huge. It can grow up to 1600 kilos, and surprisingly sometimes a tiger, an experienced tiger, can hunt down a gore as well. So this is, let's come back to another story that we always not with the animal call, we get to know like all the deer or, especially we rely for the tiger sighting, but it's not always the like lesser faunas which, making distress call and we know that something is happening around. It could be something different as well. So so here is at one point, this is in the core area, and this side is the buffer area. So I was on a walk, and so you can see this is the core area. So the place is so serene, so quiet. So I just felt like to spend some time out there. So I was waiting, just watching, enjoying the loneliness out there, but suddenly heard uh, like a lot of birds are calling. One bird, this is the jungle babbler, and they are also known as the seven sisters because they always stick together. And they are one of the noisiest birds in the forest. They like all of them start, chirping together. And but that was something, it was not just chirping, it was something different. So we look back. When we look back, we saw that one raptor actually held one wing of one of the babbler of the group, and it was trying to flying away from there. And that's the reason why the rest of the babblers were babbling, like were shouting at the top of their voice. And the one which was on the talons, it was like trying to like get out of it like anything. It was just moving from here and there, but it was very disturbing for the raptor. And this is what we saw. Imagine the raptor over here. It flew in front of in front of our eyes, and can you imagine? It just went into that water body. Picture. Sorry for the picture quality, but this is also through the binocular. So it just landed in the water, and imagine it just like it forced the bird, it forced the babbler to drown. And we can see that its feet is moving. I mean, it is forcing, because of course it's trying to get out, so it is giving its all force. And this raptor kept on holding the bird in the water. I mean, how could they even think that they can actually drown someone to kill it? Because it was struggling. And once it's done, once it's dead, it flew from this area somewhere here, and it started feeding the bird sitting on the branch, on a proper branch where it can have a good perch, and it started feeding. So imagine this whole story starts happening. It's just outstanding. Um, I mean, imagine a bird that they thought that, okay, I'm struggling with this. It's difficult to get hold of this because it was only catching the wing. So water is the best place to drown it, to kill it, and then in a quiet place I can have my meal. I think that is just super amazing. So yeah, sometimes if there are birds calling, anything is happening in the forest, there could be some reason. Just stop for a while, think that what is happening, try to understand, look around, and you might get to see some amazing sightings. With that, the call. which is there. Then I come to the next, which is in Kaziranga National Park. I just say the awakening call. You know, early in the morning, uh, you are just out from your lodge going towards the gate, and sometimes gates are pretty far. And we try to cover three gates, three zones in that area in Kaziranga National Park. So in one zone, in early in the morning, it is very quiet. You get to see a lot of bird. I mean, on the way I'm talking about, not even getting inside the forest. This has happened. So I'll be talking about this, the hula gibbons, the one and only ape we have in India. So hula gibbon, they mostly, I mean, they spend the entire life on the top of the trees. They are arboreal, but they might come down only if they need to cross the road, or they need to cross, or they need to go somewhere, or just maybe the food has fallen. That's it. Otherwise, they always stay at the top of the canopy, and from there, so till early morning, until the sun is out, they are quiet. You will get to see by, and the guide which was there, he said we will be looking and we know that this is the area where you can see it. So we stopped the vehicle before we entered the park. We stopped the vehicle, we were looking, we were trying, we saw some movement, but they were like different langurs out there. But suddenly, when the sun shines, we shine on the top canopy, suddenly we hear a sound, and then whoop, 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 and this kind of call is coming. And imagine suddenly, I mean, this just the family. This is the first family which starts the call, and then followed by the other family. It's just the communication that I'm foraging here, you stay there, or this is the communication kind of thing happens. And the female in the family, the female starts vocalizing first that okay, enough, get up, go back, get back to work. She's the one who push the family members to move for the rest of the day. So that's happened. And the forest looks, I mean, imagine we are standing here, and we were, I mean, this is like they are like moving from one branch to another, like they have long arms, because they mostly hang by the arm, and they have been looking down like this, and we have been like our neck, where you can see everybody's neck is up there. So this was really fun, and they have been like moving around, and everywhere wherever the call is coming, suppose one group has vanished, another group is calling, we rush there to see that group, that what is happening out there. And it's just outstanding experience what we have followed. So see here, here's the father, here's the male, and this is the baby over here, the male child, I mean male, and it is trying or making it to, you know, cross from this, and he just learning how to swing on the branches. And that's why, I mean, I think gibbons call are like the alarm for the forest, that okay, it's a morning time, sunshine, and now get back to work, or maybe to us that okay, start your safari, it's been the time. So it's, yes, it's amazing to be there and listening to their call. You actually get goosebumps. Trust me, if you get that moment, you will have goosebumps. That's so exciting. And with that excitement, of course, when we are talking about Kaziranga, we cannot skip our showstopper, is the greater one-horn rhino. Kaziranga has the highest population of the greater one-horn rhino. It's almost have 2,500 in that park. And the park is also, Kaziranga is the park like which is extending into, like, it is getting more areas under the core area to give more protection to this beautiful animals. And with that, we get to see good number of you know, elephants, like herd they have. in Kaziranga. And Kaziranga is mostly the foothills of Himalayas. So we have huge grasslands. So these grasses are called the elephant grass. I took this picture from a watchtower. That's the reason why it is like this. Otherwise, if I'm down there, it is very difficult to see the elephants because of this elephant grass. And you can see they have the tiny little ones out here. And with that, you see here, this is another herd we come across. They were crossing and foraging, and there are female who are carrying, they were pregnant. And look at this little one. It's just with this wobbly toes, it was trying to make passage for it to move out. And this fellow is foraging the leaves, but in just few moments back, it was trying to eat some mud. Maybe it was having some stomach issues. So that time they just eat a little bit of mud over there, the soil. So yes, this kind of encounters you can really have, and trust me, if you are quite like no movement, nothing, and of course we have to understand the language, what they are trying to do. So that's how you can actually enjoy the moment like anything. I think we were only two vehicles out here when we were watching this whole herd doing their work and protecting the child, foraging, and one was keeping eye on us. You can see this. She was constantly like following us, that what we are doing. So we try to keep as still as possible. So with the rhino elephant, of course, Kaziranga is one of the park which has highest density of the tiger, but because of this habitat and the grassland, it is very difficult to spot. So for the Grand India trip, Central India is the part where we can, actually get more chances to see a tiger. But when we come to Kaziranga, it is more about the one-horned rhino, because I told you that's the showstopper. And we then maybe luckily we get to see the tiger, because it's very difficult. I mean, searching for a tiger in Kaziranga or in Chitwan is more like searching a needle in a haystack. So, but of course, they're always around, because we have seen it. But it's less than Central India. I would definitely say that. And and over here, look at this fellow. I mean, he's least bothered how many vehicles are watching and all. He was just having an afternoon siesta, and that is also like that. I mean, this is so more fun watching a tiger taking a nap like this. It's crazy. So with tiger, we have another amazing bird, which is the greater hornbill, and many number of species of turtles you get to see here, because in Kaziranga the river flows is Brahmaputra, which get flood every year. And this Brahmaputra has the highest density of turtles in India, where so we get to see them, and they're basking on those logs. And the funny part about the turtle, when you see them, is suppose in a line they would bask. They need some more space, so they will keep on pushing the other. So at one time, sometime you will feel that it's like a garland. There is no gap. One after another. Maybe one is trying to get up from the water and it couldn't, but because of that movement, a little bit of movement, all of them fell in the water. So this kind of funny incidents also keeps on happening. And then in Kaziranga, we have this beautiful and the critically endangered species is the Gangetic river dolphin. So on the last day, we go to see it, and trust me, no matter how many times I see it, when we enter the area, there is a place called Silghat. So recently, where the gharial have been spotted at well last year. So in that part, when I used to get into the boat, I know that there are gangetic dolphin. We will get to see it, but you know what? Every time I see it, I say, "Oh wow, 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 there is this," and everybody say, everybody think that, okay. is this the first time? But I can't say that how lucky you should feel that, seeing a Gangetic dolphin, because there are so less than 1500, and I'm telling 1500 is too much. Less than that number is now surviving in this area. And imagine, you can't see it anywhere else. And the thing is, whenever you see this Gangetic dolphin, you actually realize the whole habitat, how things are going on, especially when they come out and they go down. It looks amazing, it sounds amazing. So yeah, it's one of the exciting part where while we are ending the trip in Kaziranga on the last day. And with that, Kaziranga National Park, I cannot just come out of this area, which is Chitwan National Park. And you can see, I mean, trust me, when the first day, when I went there, and on the third day, because it was very misty, we couldn't go out. On the third day, when I came out, I saw, and I love mountains. I mean, the montane forest I like, and I love the snow peak from a distance. I don't know, I just feel amazing to be in front of a mountain. And of course, jungle is my lifeline. So you know what happened? I came out, there was a grassland and one rhino, and the mother and the calf was there. And I came out and I just looked at the opposite. Thankfully, the sky was clear. I looked at the opposite and I said that this beautiful peak, like Snow Peak mountain. And one side there is a forest, there is the mountain. In between, there is a crystal clear river is flowing. We have pebbles and a beautiful land out there. Trust me, I forgot about there is a rhino and a calf. I just lied down and I said, I'm in heaven. I mean, that was my experience when I first been to Chitwan. I mean, for my work out there, and people got to know that I love mountains. So each and every time, in the colleagues I'm working with, whenever they used to see the snow peak, they used to bang on my door and they say, you can see the snow peak now. And sometimes it was so clear that it just filled my heart with so much of happiness. And I always thankful to all the people and God for blessing me with this beautiful life. And yeah, sorry, I'm just flowing with the thing. Okay, so in Chitwan, that's how the encounters happen with the rhino. There also we have this greater one-horn rhino, and this fellow was very curious that what is happening in front, in ahead, because it's trying to feed on the grass, but it's still on the milking, like it's still like in a nestling state, and it came in front of us, and we that tiny little sound you can hear. And then it came out, and the mother was pretty relaxed, and it came out, and there was an elephant, so it just took the trunk and did that vibrating sound, that like this. So he heard that, and suddenly it realizes, oh gosh, where is mama? And it just moved back. I wish I could have taken the video of it, but it was, I mean, this kind of sightings you actually get to see in this grassland. And if you stick there for a while, you might get to see a lot of beautiful behavior of the animal without disturbing or without attracting their attention towards you. And in rhino, you can, in Kaziranga and in Chitwan, you can see rhinos in every way. I mean, you can see in the river where we actually go out, you see here of different shape, size, old one, young one, mother and the baby, and of course also the mating pair. You can see they're crossing. That's a different one. They're crossing even in the sunset where we enjoy sunset. There you see them like this. And here I would like to speak about the encounter I had with a sloth bear. So Chitwan is a place more than central India. In central India, in Grand India trip, you have a chance to see the sloth bear in Kanha and in Bandhavgarh, mostly in Bandhavgarh. But the chances of seeing the sloth bear becomes more, I mean, it's a little better in Chitwan. Uh, But again, of course, the huge tall grass is the same situation as the Kaziranga. So here I was on a walk. So in Chitwan, you can actually do a core walk. So I was on a walk. There were like 2, 3 guests with me, and there were 2 guides who were there. And we went. It was right after the monsoon, and so we were moving ahead inside the core. We were walking. There is a small canal. Um, I mean, that time there was not much water. There was a small canal passing, and we were moving towards the bush. And there's the forest is very thick. Chitwan is very thick. I mean, after a meter you might not be able to see something, but you see actually a lot of things in Chitwan. So that happened, and we were moving. Suddenly a male sloth bear came out from the ditch, from the canal, and neither it saw us, neither did we realize that there is a bear. And trust me, I still, whenever I talk, I still feel that, my heart is, that day actually I saw my heart pounding on the ground. The bear came, it stood up, though this is not the photograph of the same day, because we were not in a condition to take a picture. I just told the guest that don't move a muscle. And unfortunately, 1 or 2 of them started running behind, which I could not. I held two of their hand, and 2 of them just ran behind, and I couldn't see, and I couldn't even stop them. And that was the biggest mistake, I believe, because it felt threatened. So it actually stood up and the snarl like, like this. I should, oh no. And then it started coming towards us. So, and we were carrying bamboo sticks, and we started patting it on the ground, and we started, first on very, very loudly, so that with the noise, it stops. And I was just holding the bamboo like this, and I told them, just stand behind me. Don't worry, if anything happens, we are there in front. And of course, I don't know, that time a power, a sensibility, everything comes in, you really realize that no, we have to do it, kind of a thing. So it was there, and it came by running, and it stood up just around 6 feet away. It stood up again, snarled like, and you can see all this saliva and these things are dropping. And it then thumped on the ground. Oh, sorry. And then it thumped on the ground, and it moved, and it took a left turn. And then I got some breath. Okay, is it gone? It's gone. Still my heart is beating so fast. So this kind of encounters, always trust the person who is with you, because that is more important. And the belief, the trust, you have to keep that, okay, that person is trying their level best to show you the animal, at the same time thinking about your safety first. So that 2% made that mistake, but thankfully we were safe. And this is how the encounter has happened. And this is also, and sloth bear is the only bear in the world which piggyback their cubs. You can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 cubs are there. Actually 3 you can see from here, 1 is from that side. So the mother was passing by, and one certain point, what has happened with this sighting, we have been looking for her standing on the seat of the vehicle, and she was looking at us right beside the vehicle. She was standing and looking at us like this. Okay, that what are you silly people, what are you looking for, kind of a, and then she moved ahead. It's an awesome sighting. Then it comes, I think I have shared this story. I don't know any of you if you have heard this story. So in this place also, so of course in Chitwan there is no restricted place for the bushlu. Only where we get down for the breakfast we can use it, and there is no proper like toilet, so you have to use the don't be scared, we would check the area. But I went to pee, and once just few minutes back we got to see a big python, and once I sat for to be, and I got some noise on the dried leaves, and I thought that could be a wild boar around. So I paused for a while. I looked around and see nothing. I sat again and I started to do my nature call, and I suddenly saw the head was moving towards me. And for a fraction of a second, I thought, oh yes, another python. And of course, when it comes to reptile, I think my adrenaline rush like boost up like anything. And with that, then I just saw, and I saw it's a king cobra, and it was huge. Imagine I mistaken it with a python. I mean, for the fraction of a second. So you can imagine the size of the king. And this is the picture just to make you understand. And this is where the king was, and I was sitting right in front. And here it, and there was a log. Thankfully, there was a log. The log was an obstruction. It started raising its hood, and I was just looking at a king, and I was doing my job. And it was, I think it was the most amazing feeling. It was really majestic. It was majestic. So king cobra actually had this Latin name called Ophiophagus hanna. Oh gosh, I'm running out of time. Ophiophagus hanna. Ophiophagus means who feeds on snakes. So they feed on other snakes, and it is the only snake in the world which actually builds the nest. And just right before the hatchling, the eggs are about to hatch, the female leaves the nest because it's a snake-eating snake. So I think it's just the nature, how the nature has made it. So that's how it goes. When it comes to another critically endangered animal, only around 1,200 are there in the wild, and only you get to see in India and in Chitwan National Park. Nowhere else in the world is the very unique crocodile, which is called the gharial. It has this longer snout, mostly fish eaters. That's how they are built for the kill, and live in the very fast flowing river, and mostly near the turns. So what happens over there, let me tell you, they have done their nest, the hatchling time were out. This is how they bask in the morning. You can see it's already camouflaged out here. And the river flows like this. And suddenly, so we take a boat ride out here, and we saw a lot of hatchlings came out, maybe just 15 to 20, or just a month, 15 to 20 days old, not even a month. So they came out, and they were like up there. You can see few are in the water as well. So we were so excited to see so many hatchlings, so many babies out there. So we tried to approach, and those boats don't have machines. It's a hand rowing boat. So we tried to approach little closer. And soon as we just tried to be close, the mother came out on the surface. And gharial is known to be, being a reptile, gharial is known to have one of the best parenting in all the other reptiles. I mean, their parenting is outstanding. I mean, they are so protective, and they would be one parent will always be there. One means there can be different female, different male, but they would be together out there, to protect the babies. So this was like a warning. Okay, enough, you have come close, just stay there. Okay, so, and gharial grows really big. They can go up to almost 18 feet, 18, 19 feet. So you can imagine how big it is. So yes, and that, I think that protecting instinct, what it has, that day we get to see it. By just the water was calm, we couldn't see the animal, and this water is so clear. Even once in one sighting, we got to see the boat is just, imagine this is the riverbed. This is the river, and the boat was crossing by, and there was a gharial lying on the riverbed in the vegetation, and we actually could see it, that the water is so transparent, so clear. Sorry. So I think this instinct of parenting, what we have witnessed that day, was really great, because we know that reptiles, they lay the egg, the hatchling comes out, and then it's their, like, the life by their own. Excuse me. Sorry. Yeah, so that's how what it happens. And of course, Chitwan has another one, which is the fresh water crocodile. We also call it mugger. They can be huge as well. Sometimes you will feel that just a dead thing is lying there, but in a little movement, a sudden movement, you will find that, but they don't harm, they're not harmful to human, because you will see all the tribal kids, the gharial is lying there, or the crocodile, the mugger is lying there. They're playing in this water. They're taking bath in that water. Even people are cutting grass sitting behind it. So they share a very mutual understanding kind of a relationship, I believe. I mean, till so many years, what I have come across. This is this is a beautiful place to watch all these beautiful animals. And this is how the boat ride happens. This is the rowing boat. This is how you see it. We go close also towards the bank, if we get to see some animals, and we get to see sloth bear, leopard, tiger, elephant, rhinos, even on the boat ride. Safari vehicle is also definitely it's there, but boat is much more calming, soothing, and good place to see the gharials and the muggers. And with this, another short story, I'll try to cut it short, is on another walk. Like, forest gives so many things to us, right? I have read about all this cordyceps fungus, that it actually do all this chemical complications in the insect's body, and it actually comes out. And we were on a walk. I was looking through a binocular, just what is there around. So suddenly my eye caught on a small branch, and I saw something is there, which is very unusual on a branch. I looked through the binocular and I said, "Oh gosh, what is this?" And I ran over there. Who were with me, they thought that maybe something, big or something more exciting. But they never thought that it is such a small, tiny thing I'm excited about. But of course, imagine the fungus, which actually start controlling the tissues and muscle of an insect, and they make it sure that they go somewhere else, and over there the fungus come out, and from there they do that spore dispersal. I mean, how much work a fungus can do to make the insect do it. I think that was one of cordyceps fungus. I mean, the whole fungus life is extraordinary. I mean, it's like an alien world when we start knowing about the fungus. But this was an incredible sighting, I believe, because they're so tiny, we hardly get to see it. But once we focus in every part of the forest, not just the bigger animals, I think we come across this kind of thing a lot. And that helps. And in Chitwan, we just do a high tea near the confluence area of this transparent river and another transparent river, the perennial and stream fed river mixed together. There we sit and imagine the sunset. Looks beautiful, stunning. I mean, I couldn't capture so many colors, but I think the whole palette is just flushed out, I mean, flashes over there. And it's a beautiful sunset, and you can take pictures, and a lot of animals keeps on moving around, and the sound of the river, it gives you, I think it's so refreshing, and it's just such a nice way to end the forest part in Nepal, and to refresh or to regenerate a lot of energy to get into Bhutan for the beautiful cultural and the beautiful, like, a forest patch to see. It's a breathtaking place when you move there in Bhutan. Seriously, I mean, carbon negative. When you step in, you really feel it. You can feel it. You don't need any interpretation. It just like that. And of course, this is how things can happen in the forest. So be ready for it and be into it. Come visit and be just be with the excitement. This is the best part when you were in the forest, because you became a part of the forest. You also became the narrator, whatever the nature is just expressing you in front of in front. Anyway, thank you. I think I have taken a lot of time, but Sunny, I'm ready to take a few questions if possible.
You can take as much time as you would like. We love your passion and your excitement, which is so contagious, and your skills for weaving a story are just so delightful. So thank you. We got lots of comments from the audience saying they really appreciate your storytelling and they really want to see the video
Yeah,
that you
I will
mentioned.
send them.
So we
Surely
just have a couple.
Yeah.
We'll just go with a couple quick questions since we've already gone over. Which park, could you remind us, which park did you see the mother and baby rhinos and sloth bear in?
Mother rhino and sloth bear is in Chitwa National Park. That is our Nepal-Bhutan trip, of our Nepal-Bhutan trip. Yeah.
Excellent. And then there's another question about how many cubs sloth bears have. There was an image with 3 on her back. Are they same age, different age?
No, same age. They would have like near about 4 cubs they can have, but mostly you will see 2.
2.
Having 4 cubs is little unusual. If the mother is experienced enough, then she can like help them to grow. But most of the time you will see 2 cubs, and if anything happens, you will see at least 1 with the mother.
From my experience, 2 is plenty. Well, thank you again. It is always a pleasure. I'm going to turn it back to you for any closing comments.
Closing comments, I mean, have a great day, but don't just sit and listen. You should come. Trust me. I mean, I know there are a lot of other forests, any forest. It's not necessary that you need to come here. Trust me, I think I get this happiness and the moment, and when I feel it, it's just the nature and the forest around. I think that make me, and I just want to make you feel that experience. And not only me, I think all the guides, not only in Arab, I mean all the nature guides, all the expedition leaders are so passionate to show you, because I think it's just within, and we can't just wait until you come down and experience it by yourself. Have a great day. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, Sunny, for hosting. You are an amazing host. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thanks to everyone who tuned in today. Please join us again on Monday for our next Daily Dose of Nature. You can check out next week's lineup, including registration links, on our website at nathab.com/webinars. We did record today's presentation, and we will have the replay available on our website soon. With that, I will conclude the webinar. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone.